Discovered, how 4 women transformed a billionaire's perspective with incredible purchases. In the heart of Springfield, Ohio, 4 women stood, united by a burning desire to revitalize their corner of the world. Mia, a single mother with worn hands and a fierce spirit, juggled coffee pots and napkins at the diner, dreaming of a brighter future for her children. Sarah, a retired veteran, felt purpose coursing through her veins as she mentored young minds, eager to instill the confidence she found in service. Aisha, a young immigrant entrepreneur, kept her family's dreams alive in her tiny bakery, tirelessly working to prove that hard work could become sweet success. And Linda, a dedicated teacher, breathed life into classrooms, igniting flames of knowledge in those who had been left behind. The community center buzzed with energy as families gathered, homemade posters celebrating unity hanging from the walls. It was a rare moment of hope, their chance to purchase the neglected center that could become a sanctuary for many. Together, these women pooled what little savings they had, stitching together a proposal filled with love and ambition, believing wholeheartedly that this investment could breathe life back into their community. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As they stood on that makeshift stage, nervously presenting their vision to Carter Reynolds, the billionaire's presence loomed like a thundercloud. He was here, surrounded by all that glimmered, yet so far removed from the laughter and hope filling the room. His first words felt like ice, penetrating their dreams. "Can you really make this profitable?" He scoffed, eyeing them with skepticism painted on his tailored suit. Mia's heart raced. She shared her struggles, the nights spent working, the fear of not being enough. Sarah's voice trembled as she reflected on the echoes of her past, those she fought for. Aisha's eyes shone with determination, while Linda recounted countless stories of children longing for a place to call home. Yet, Carter, burdened by wealth, remained trapped in his fortress, unable to see their passion as anything more than emotional fluff. A chilling tension filled the air. Their resolve against his dismissal ignited an urgent standoff. Just as their voices crescendoed, a siren wailed outside. Mia's heart dropped, her child was in trouble. Panic gripped her as she rushed toward the exit, Carter's golden empire fading in the background. In that moment, he witnessed the urgency behind their dreams, the very lives they fought for spilling onto the sidewalk. It was a striking juxtaposition, the laughter of the community center against the chaos of life outside. Carter's world, built on profit and prestige, shook dangerously. The shrill of sirens faded into the background as his thoughts swirled. Could those women, living on the edge of despair, teach him what true wealth really meant? As the chaos unfolded, they clenched their resolve tighter, their mission blossoming amid turmoil. The atmosphere thickened, brimming with unspoken choices. Would Carter step out of his gilded bubble and see them, really see them? Would he finally grasp that the true essence of the American dream is about lifting one another up? Each breath held promises and fears. The stage was set for an unexpected confrontation. Mia burst through the doors, the bustling noise from inside the community center fading into a muted hum as she stepped into the chaos outside. Panic welled in her chest, the sharp cries of her child echoing in her ears. The flashing lights illuminated the street like stars caught in a whirlwind. "Mom!" Her son, Tyler, called out, his small frame trembling as he stood with a police officer. The sight of him, frightened and alone, pierced through her like a knife. She rushed to him, instinct driving every step. "Mia, relax. He just bumped into a parked car," the officer said, his calm demeanor a stark contrast to her whirlwind of emotions. "He's fine, just a little shaken." Relief washed over Mia, but the gravity of the moment still held her in its grip. Tyler clung to her like a lifeline, his wide eyes mirroring her own anguish. She knelt down, pulling him into a tight embrace, feeling his heartbeat steady against her own. Meanwhile, inside the center, the tension had shifted drastically. Carter, witnessing the small, intimate moment of a mother and son, felt a crack in the walls he had built around himself. These weren't just women begging for help, they were warriors fighting for the heart of their community. As he stared into the vibrant, chaotic scene unfolding outside, he began to remember fragments of his own childhood, the warmth of a family table, the laughter of friends. Those memories felt foreign now, buried under layers of wealth and ambition. The truth tugged at him, investing in lives had become intangible, while investing in cold numbers was all he'd known. Do you see them? Sarah's voice broke through his reverie. She had stepped forward, her gaze fierce and unwavering. Do you understand why this matters? Carter's throat tightened. He could feel the tide shifting within him, a haunting realization surfacing. She's doing everything she can to give him a future, she pointed to Mia. That's real value. More than any dollar amount. Aisha stepped up beside Sarah, her voice steady. You can change lives, Mr. Reynolds. This is not just a building, it's hope. It's a chance for children to learn, for families to grow together. The room felt electric, heartbeats thrumming like a drum. There was urgency in the air, a signal that change could be embraced if only he had the courage to step into that moment. The faces around him weren't just striving women, they were reflections of the sacrifices that formed the backbone of America. Carter felt a swell of something. Was it understanding? Empathy? Something so foreign yet undeniably familiar. He was still. Perhaps this was his chance to become more than a shadow in the world of wealth, a moment to reconnect with something he'd lost. Okay, he finally said, his voice unsteady but resolute, let us talk about what you need to make this happen. Gasps echoed throughout the center, the collective breath of hope revitalizing the room. Mia, Sarah, Aisha, and Linda exchanged glances, disbelief sparking in their eyes. Could it be true? Was he really willing to support them? As they exchanged ideas and plans, a slow smile crept across Mia's face, a sign of newfound possibilities, the dawn of something extraordinary. They were about to prove that investment is more than just numbers, it's about people, dreams, and the courage to fight for those dreams together. But just as they planned their next steps, a hefty voice interrupted from the back of the room. Don't get too comfortable, ladies, not everyone in my circle will be willing to back a project like this. Mia's heart sank. What had they triggered? A new storm brewing, or the start of a real opportunity? She could feel her resolve building as she faced this ominous challenge. The fight was far from over, and the stakes had never been higher. Mia felt a chill run down her spine as the voice ricocheted through the room. She turned slowly, bracing herself to face the source of the interruption. A burly man, dressed in an expensive suit that looked like it could crush dreams and intimidate hope, leaned casually against the doorframe. His presence exuded authority, each word he spoke dripping with skepticism. John, Sarah said, her voice steady but voice quivering slightly. We're trying to create something meaningful here. John scoffed, a humorless smile stretching across his face. Meaningful? In this city? You think a community center can change anything? The money flows in the other direction, ladies. Good intentions won't pay the bills. Carter's gaze shot to John, anger igniting within him. Wasn't that exactly the mindset that had kept growth stagnant for so long? The thought pushed him forward. You might be surprised by what happens when you invest in people, John, he said, his voice sharper than before. They can be the greatest asset. John raised an eyebrow, clearly unimpressed. You really think these women can convince the high rollers? I've seen it all, and I can assure you then you haven't seen this, Mia interrupted, adrenaline surging. She could feel Tyler's small hand grip her thigh, grounding her. This isn't just about money. It's about our community, our kids. What they need is a real chance, not just a statistic pushed aside. The crowd murmured, taking a step back from the direct confrontation. A spark of solidarity ignited. This was not just about one man's wealth or influence. It was about a vision, a thread of hope that connected them all. Aisha stepped forward, fire in her eyes. You want proof? Meet us in a week. Bring your best offer for the center. See what the families want for themselves and their children. They're not just a charity case. They're part of this city. They deserve to be seen. John's expression hardened, his eyes narrowing into a skeptical glare. And if I refuse? Mia felt the weight of the room shift, anticipation flickering like the overhead lights. Then you miss out on something that could change your life too, Mia replied, her voice steady and powerful. Sometimes, the best investment isn't the dollar amount but the goodwill behind it. The atmosphere bristled as a palpable tension hung in the air. It was a risky move, but Mia felt the adrenaline course through her. Maybe John needed this challenge. After all, wasn't he at the power of connection that truly enriched lives? Carter took a step closer to John, their eyes locking. You can choose to be part of something that matters, something real. Or you can stay in your bubble. The choice is yours. With a huff, John straightened, swallowing whatever retort lingered on the tip of his tongue. In that moment, the door to possibility swung open just a crack. Fine, he finally said, voice begrudging. I'll attend. But don't think I'll be an easy sell. As he left the room, the weight of his skepticism still hung heavily in the air. The four women turned toward Carter, their expressions a mixture of disbelief and hope. Did that just happen? Aisha whispered, her heart racing. It did, Carter replied, his voice filled with determination. And now we need to get to work. Let us show him what we can do. The room began to pulse with expectancy, plans forming like threads interweaving around the bright future they dared to envision. But before they could delve deeper into their plans, Mia felt a familiar tug at her sleeve. Mom, do you think he really will help us? Tyler asked, his innocent inquiry drawing a brief silence. Mia looked down at her son, warmth flooding her heart. I hope so, buddy. But whether he does or not, we're going to keep fighting. With renewed spirit, they began discussing strategies, but the seed of uncertainty lingered in the air. What challenges would John bring, and could their resolve withstand the brewing storm? As they plotted their course, one thing became clear: they were ready to face whatever lay ahead. The fight for their community was just beginning, but would they have the strength to follow through when the spotlight turned on them? Mia's heart raced as she made her way home that night. Tyler chattered away, his excitement spilling over like bubbles in a shaken soda can. She smiled softly, trying to absorb what had happened earlier. John's skeptical smirk still played in her mind. Did she really challenge him enough? Would he actually come to see the community center? As they arrived home, the world outside felt distant. It was a cozy little apartment, filled with the warmth of worn-in furniture and the sense of dinner wafting through the air. Mia set down her keys and scooped Tyler into her arms, planting a big kiss on his forehead. How about we celebrate our little victory with pizza? Tyler beamed, bouncing on his toes. Yes. And ice cream. Mia laughed, a sound of pure joy. The reality of her day-to-day life faded, and for a moment, she envisioned the center brimming with laughter and children playing. Later that evening, as she tucked Tyler into bed, she couldn't shake the lingering worry. Mom, are we really going to get the center? He asked, his bright eyes gazing up at her. Yes, sweetie, she reassured him, tucking the blanket snugly. We have to believe it. And we'll work hard for it. Once he drifted off to sleep, she sank into the couch, her fingers idly flipping through the pages of an old magazine. Thoughts of John danced in her head, colliding with her determination. Deep down, she felt fatigue, but it transformed into a burning desire. She picked up her phone and texted the group, "Let us meet early tomorrow. We need to brainstorm for John." The next morning, the sun shone bright, casting a hopeful glow on the city. At the community center, Mia arrived to find Aisha already there, pacing back and forth, anxiety etched on her face. "Hey, we're going to figure this out, okay? Mia said, offering her a warm smile. Aisha frowned, crossing her arms. What if he laughs at us when we pitch? What if he doesn't take us seriously? Then we fight harder, Mia replied passionately. We're not just here to ask for money. We're here to show him who we are. We have stories, families, dreams. As more women filed into the room, the atmosphere shifted, growing heavier yet pulsing with potential. Carter arrived, equally intense, ready for action. We need to amplify our message. People aren't numbers, they're lives. We'll create a presentation that connects with him on a personal level. With each new plan laid out, Mia felt the fear seep away, replaced by a surge of excitement. They assigned roles, shared stories, and crafted touching narratives about children and families who needed a place to flourish. The clock ticked on, but in that moment, they were united with purpose. The nerves crept in again as they prepared for John's appearance, but determination overshadowed them. Mia could feel the energy in the air crackle like electricity. This was it. This was their moment. Minutes ticked by until finally, with a light knock, John strode into the room. The changes in his expression were subtle, but to Mia, they were monumental. He wasn't welcome, he had stepped into their realm now. All right, he said, crossing his arms. Let us see what you've got. The room fell silent, all eyes on Mia and her friends. That's when it clicked for her. This wasn't just a pitch. This was about showing the truth of who they were. As Mia stepped forward to speak, she felt her heart pounding. This was their chance to transform not just John's perspective but the future of their entire community. Would they be able to convince him, or would his skepticism darken their hopes once more? Her breath caught in her throat. Here it went, the beginning of everything. Mia took a deep breath, steadied herself, and stepped into the spotlight that suddenly felt much bigger than her. The room was filled with a mix of anticipation and doubt. She could feel the eyes of her friends on her, a silent plea for reassurance. It empowered her. These were her people. Thank you for being here, John, she began, her voice steady despite the thunderous drum of her heart. We're not just here for a handout or a quick fix. This is about something much deeper. She glanced around at her friends, each one a pillar of support, and she saw nods of encouragement from Aisha and Carter. You see, our community isn't just a number on a chart. It's children laughing, families struggling, and dreams waiting to be realized. Mia's words spilled forth like a dam bursting. As she continued, the room seemed to shrink, droplets of uncertainty evaporating with her passion. Aisha jumped in, her anxiety now transformed into fervor. Our center is a lifeline for so many. We have kids who come here after school, but there's so much more we want to do. Classes, sports, art programs. Imagine what we could achieve together. John's brow furrowed, and Mia noticed the slightest shift in his posture. Was it curiosity? A hint of intrigue? She took a risk and pressed on, sharing a story of a little boy named Max. He comes here every day after school, not for the games, but for the warmth of our community. Last week, he told me he wanted to be a doctor. A few years ago, he didn't even think he could dream. The silence in the room was profound. Mia locked eyes with John, praying he was starting to understand just how crucial the center was. Carter chimed in, it's moments like those life-changing moments that deserve support. Beyond dollars and cents, this is about real lives, real potential. Transforming futures. Mia could feel the charge in the air growing heavier, almost tangible. She was taking them all on a journey, peeling back the layers of skepticism, revealing the heartbeat of their community. John shifted again, his arms uncrossing slightly. He looked at Mia, studying her, searching for something in her eyes. And what do you need from me, from us? His tone was no longer dismissive but rather contemplative, almost inviting. Mia's heart raced. This was the opening they needed. We need funding, resources, and a partnership. We want to dream big, but we can't do it alone. We want to create a place where every child is seen, heard, and given a chance. The room held its breath. Aisha spoke softly, "It's more than just cash. It's about belief. Believing in our community means believing in our children." John seemed to mull over their words, his eyes darting around the room. Mia felt the weight of his decision pressing in on them, the moment hanging like ripe fruit. After what felt like an eternity, he exhaled, the air heavy with tension. "I'll need to see the numbers. I need more details about the programs. If I'm going to support this, I need to understand the vision and the impact deeply." Suddenly, Mia's throat felt constricted. This was more than she had hoped for. "Of course. We'll provide everything you need. We'll create a proposal that will show you the potential of what we can accomplish together." As their meeting drew to a close, a spark flickered within Mia. There was hope, but the challenge ahead was daunting. Could they craft a proposal that would truly capture everything they were fighting for? Just outside the room, the sun streamed in, a reminder of the bright future they were striving for. As John left, Mia exchanged glances with her friends. Their emotions were a mix of relief and cautious optimism. "Let us get to work," Aisha said, determination etched on her face. As they rallied together to plan their next steps, Mia couldn't shake the feeling that this was just the beginning. She could sense the tides shifting, but lurking in the back of her mind was a profound question: could they really deepen John's commitment, or was this just another fleeting moment of interest? The answer to that question hung heavy as they dove back into their preparations. What they needed to do next was clearer than ever, but the stakes felt impossibly high. The next day dawned with a sense of urgency that laced the air. Mia, Aisha, and Carter convened at the community center, armed with laptops, stacks of papers, and endless ideas flowing like a river. The light streaming through the windows painted a golden hue over the faded walls, a small testament to the potential they were about to unleash. "Okay, let us brainstorm our approach," Mia said, her excitement palpable as she tapped a pen against her chin. "We need to highlight the stories, the numbers, and the transformation. Everything we've done so far matters. We just need to show it to him in a way he can't ignore." Aisha nodded motivatedly, her fingers already racing over her keyboard. "What about including testimonials? We can gather some from the families who've benefited. Real voices talking about what our center means to them. That way, it won't just be data on a page." "Exactly," Carter agreed, pacing the floor as he thought aloud. "Maybe even a video? Something emotional but authentic. Show him Max and others like him. Make him feel their dreams, the impact we have." The trio worked tirelessly, adrenaline surging as the hours slipped by. Each time Mia felt doubt creeping in, memories of the children who had found solace at their center washed over her, stories of resilience, laughter, and dreams unfulfilled but not abandoned. It fueled her further, stoking the fire in her heart. Suddenly, Aisha broke the focus, a look of realization crossing her face. "We need to address this like a partnership. If John sees that there's space for him in what we're doing, it might ignite his interest even more. It's not just about us needing him, it's about what he can gain from being involved." Mia glanced at Aisha, impressed by her insight. "You're right. We're creating a legacy together, not a transaction. If he feels he belongs to this, he is more likely to invest his time and his resources." As they worked into the night, the proposal began to take shape, passion emanating from every page. They included Max's story, captured in heartfelt quotes from his mother about how the center had become their anchor. They highlighted statistics showing the significant uptick in school attendance among kids involved in their programs and outlined plans for future potential: music classes, mentorship programs, and art therapy sessions. Once the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the center in shades of twilight, exhaustion settled in. But in the glow of their accomplishments, a sense of unity wrapped around them. They were part of something bigger than themselves, stitching together the fabric of hope and possibility. "We're ready," Carter finally declared, looking at a clock that ticked the late hour away. "This proposal will show him we're serious." Mia took a deep breath, a mix of exhilaration and anxiety coursing through her. Tomorrow, we present this to him. But what if he still doesn't bite? The fear tinged her voice. It was a question she couldn't shake. Aisha reached out, squeezing Mia's hand gently. If he doesn't understand the value after all this, then he is not the right partner for us. But you know what? I believe he will. It just takes one moment for a person to see beyond the numbers. As they headed home, Mia's heart was pounding, her mind racing with possibilities. Would John see their vision? Would he recognize the heartbeat of their community? Night wrapped around her like a comforting blanket, but the questioning was relentless. What if everything they poured into the proposal wasn't enough? That night, sleep came slowly, dreams swirling with hopes and fears. As dawn broke again, Mia stood at the window, watching as the world awakened. She thought of the children and families they were fighting for. In that moment, a silence fell. She realized it wasn't just about convincing one man, it was about igniting a fire in a community that had the power to change everything. With renewed determination, she whispered to herself, "This is our moment. We can do this." And yet, doubt lingered. What if their passionate plea didn't have the impact they hoped for? Would they need to reevaluate everything they believed about themselves and their mission? The stakes were high, and the answer lay just beyond the horizon of their presentation. The clock was ticking, and with it, the heartbeat of their community thrummed louder, urging them forward into the unknown. The morning air felt electric as Mia arrived at the community center. The weight of their work was heavy on her shoulders, and yet her heart throbbed with anticipation. She glanced at her watch. Time was fleeting. Aisha and Carter were already there, organizing the materials, their faces a mix of determination and nerves. "Okay, deep breaths," Mia said, pulling the door shut behind her. "Let us go over our key points one last time." Aisha straightened, her tone serious. "We lead with Max's story. It's powerful. People connect with stories first. The numbers come next, supported by personal testimonies. It's all about heart and then facts." Carter nodded, pacing again. "Right. But remember, we need to make him feel like he is part of this, not just some philanthropist being asked for money. We invite him into the journey." Shifting from one foot to another, Mia felt doubt creeping in again. What if he doesn't feel that spark? Or worse, what if he dismisses us altogether? She clenched her fists, trying to rid herself of those thoughts. Aisha stepped closer, her eyes softening. "Mia, remember why we're doing this. It's not just for the funding, it's about building a future for our kids. When you speak, let that passion shine through. That is what will resonate." With an understanding nod, Mia took a breath, and they rounded the table, preparing their printed proposal. But before they could fully settle into the rhythm of their presentation, the door swung open, and John entered, exuding an air of confidence. He had a sharp suit and an unmatched energy that turned heads, yet everything felt muted as Mia's nerves took hold. "Good morning, everyone," he greeted, his voice smooth but the underlying weight of unspoken judgment hung in the air. "Thank you for joining us," Mia managed to say, feeling her voice quiver slightly. "We're really excited to share what we've been working on." John raised an eyebrow, glancing at the spread of their proposal. "I hope it's compelling. You know I have a hectic schedule." Aisha gulped, exchanging a worried look with Mia. "We'll keep it brief, I promise. We want to show you the heart of our center and why we believe partnership is the path forward." Mia stepped up, hands slightly sweating as she held the proposal firmly. "We have stories. Stories of real families who have transformed thanks to this center. I want you to meet Max," she said, pointing to a photograph of the boy smiling wide, the joy radiating from the image. As Mia spoke about Max's journey, outlining the challenges he faced and how the community center became a lifeline, she felt herself slipping into the narrative. The room softened, and John's expression shifted slightly, intrigue mingling with skepticism. When they reached the statistics, Carter chimed in, confident and steady. And it's not just about one child, our attendance has increased by 40. That's excited kids discovering their potential. Mia recounted how families had expressed gratitude, the tears, the laughter, the promises of a better tomorrow. Each word felt raw and personal, and for the first time, she saw John lean forward, a flicker of interest in his eyes, like a candle catching flame, but as the presentation wound down, John looked thoughtful, his brow furrowed. Impressive numbers, he admitted, but numbers alone don't pull at the heartstrings the way you think they do. What makes you believe I should invest in your vision? Mia's heart raced. This was it. Because it's not just numbers. It's about the transformation of our community, the shared responsibility we have to uplift each other. If we can ignite hope here, we can do it everywhere. Silence stretched as everyone held their breath. Would he see the potential they saw? John lingered on Mia's eyes, and for a moment, the world stood still. Would he lean into their vision or pull away? As the clock ticked audibly in the background, an uncharted tension filled the room. It was now or never, and the weight of possibility rested heavily on Mia's shoulders. What had started as a proposal could become a movement or come crashing down. And with one clear question hanging in the air, would he join their quest, or would they need to brace for an unforeseen consequence? Mia's breath caught in her throat, the air heavy with anticipation. John's gaze felt like a spotlight, pinning her in place. The seconds stretched into eternity, and just when she thought silence might consume them all, he broke it. I don't invest in dreams, he said, his voice firm but not unkind. I invest in results. Show me how you can deliver those results on a larger scale, and maybe I'll consider it. Mia felt her stomach drop, the words he'd just said echoing in her head. She turned to Aisha and Carter, both of them visibly trying to mask their disappointment. It wouldn't be enough just to tell a story. They needed a plan, solid numbers, clear promises. Okay, she said, gathering herself as the weight of his skepticism sank in. We can talk about expansion. But first, I want you to hear from Max's family. I think they'll give you a clearer picture of why this matters, why it isn't just about the numbers. John crossed his arms. Interesting approach. But do you really think a few testimonials can sway my decision? They might be what you need to see the full impact of this work, Mia retorted, surprising herself with her boldness. There was fire within her, and she welcomed it. It isn't just business. This is about lives. A brief silence followed, then John chuckled softly. Well, I can't deny that you're passionate. Fine. Let us hear from some families. But remember, if this doesn't work, our time will have been wasted. Aisha shot Mia an encouraging glance, and relief washed over her. She felt a tiny flicker of hope, a chance to prove that what they were doing could spark a movement beyond just funding. As they scrambled to arrange a video call with Max's mother, Mia couldn't shake the nerves swirling inside her. What if Mrs. Thompson's story fell flat? What if John remained unmoved? She needed to channel the strength of the community they represented, the love they had poured into this center. A few moments later, a screen flickered to life and Mrs. Thompson's face beamed through the pixelation. She looked radiant, despite the hardships she had faced. Her gratitude spilled over as she spoke passionately about the community center, a place where hope had taken root when all seemed lost. Max was struggling in school, she began, her voice rich with emotion. He felt like giving up. But the moment he discovered the after-school program, everything changed. He found friends, support, he found himself again. Mia watched John's face. His stance shifted ever so slightly, she could almost sense him softening. He wasn't smiling, not yet, but his eyebrows relaxed, showing signs of intrigue. Mrs. Thompson continued, recounting small victories: the day Max brought home his first art project, the time he joined the soccer team, the moment he joined the school's debate club. Each memory painted a picture of transformation, not just for one boy but for the entire family. When she finished, silence enveloped the room once more. Mia seized the opportunity. That's why we're here. It's not just funding, it's about impact. If we can help just one child, think of how many lives we could touch. Without waiting for John's response, Carter stepped in, confident and composed. We can expand this, reach more families, and have a measurable impact. We have plans for workshops, mentoring programs, outreach to underserved kids. We believe in a future where every child has access to opportunities like Max did. John sat back, his expression inscrutable. Mia felt the unease creeping back in, uncertainty swirling. She glanced at Aisha, who looked hopeful, eyes glimmering with the possibility that was still very much alive. Would John see it too? I'll review all of this, he finally said, his tone thoughtful. But it's going to take a lot more than passion to convince me. Have you considered what happens if this fails? Mia's heart pounded, the weight of his question spinning through her mind. Failure wasn't an option, not for them, not for Max and his family. It was more than a proposal, it was the future of the community they had all worked so hard to build. As John leaned back and regarded them with a new intensity, Mia could see the glimmer of possibility shimmering beneath his calculating exterior. What would it take for him to truly believe in their mission? As the thoughts raced through her mind, she realized that they weren't just about to secure funding, they were on the brink of something much larger. And then she dared to ask, what if I told you we don't have to fail? What if we could succeed together? John's eyes narrowed, a flicker of something unidentifiable crossing his face. The air was charged with potential, and Mia could feel it, a fierce determination building within her for whatever came next. Would he leap into the unknown with them, or would they be left chasing shadows? The screen buzzed silently for a moment before cutting out, leaving Mia and her team suspended in a thick layer of uncertainty. John's expression was still hard to read, but his silence felt heavier than ever. She could almost hear the cogs turning in his mind, wrestling with the weight of their proposal. Let's say I'm interested, he began, breaking the silence with a voice that was both low and deliberate. What would the next steps look like? Mia took a breath, the smallest thread of hope unfurling. We develop a comprehensive plan to expand the community center's services. Workshops focused on entrepreneurship for the teens, tutoring sessions for younger children, and even partnerships with local businesses to help create job opportunities for families. Aisha jumped in, her passion palpable. We also implement feedback systems to ensure we're meeting the needs of the families we serve. We want this to be a community-driven initiative, not just one where we dictate what we think they need. Carter nodded in agreement. And we provide quarterly reports demonstrating progress. You'd see measurable impacts on the community, based on real data. We make sure every step is accountable. John stayed quiet, his fingers tapping rhythmically on the desk. Each tap pulsed with urgency in Mia's chest. She couldn't afford to lose this chance. And funding? He asked, finally making eye contact with Mia. How much are we talking about? Initially, we need a foundation to cover our first year, she explained, her voice steadying. With proper backing, we believe we could turn a profit within just 3 years by also offering fee-based programs to those who can afford it. This could allow us to provide even more free services for those in need. He leaned back, eyes narrowing again as he mulled this over. Mia's heart raced. She couldn't just lay all her hopes on words, she needed something deeper, something that would tug at that businessman's core. John, she said softly, breaking from the strictly professional tone. Think about Max, think about the countless children who are at risk of falling through the cracks. This isn't just a financial decision, it's about shaping lives. You can be part of this transformation. In that moment, the air shimmered with the weight of her words. John seemed to take a breath, one that seemed to shake loose a tiny element of his steely demeanor. I need time, he replied, almost reluctantly. I'll need to consult with my team. But let's set up a follow-up meeting if only to flesh out these numbers. Mia felt a rush of emotion flood through her. They had moved the needle, however slightly. Thank you, John, she said earnestly. We won't let you down. As they shut down the call, Mia felt adrenaline course through her. Aisha fist-pumped in excitement while Carter let out a sigh of relief. "That went better than expected," he exclaimed. "Not yet," Mia cautioned, her mind already racing ahead. "We need to prepare for everything. We can't afford to stumble now." Over the next few days, they worked endlessly, poring over plans and financial projections, fueled by coffee and the palpable sense of possibility hanging in the air. But amidst the urgency, doubt crept in. What if their best wasn't enough? Mia sat at her kitchen table one night, spreadsheets sprawled out, when her phone buzzed. It was a message from Mrs. Thompson. Max made the soccer team. Tears misted her eyes. It was not just about numbers or pitches, it was about moments like this that would ripple through families. Just outside her window, the sun dipped below the horizon. It was a stillness that offered a hint of peace while heeding the urgency ahead. The next meeting with John loomed closer, and she could feel the stakes rising. What if he asked her the hard questions? What if he doubted their numbers? But another feeling stirred within her, a resolute belief that they were standing on the precipice of change. Could they really transform not just John's perspective, but the lives of so many more families? Mia closed her laptop, her heart pounding in time with the steady rhythm of determination. As she turned out the lights, she whispered to herself, "We're doing this," channeling the energy of every story she heard. Her phone buzzed again. This time it was Carter with a simple question: "Are you ready for this?" Mia hesitated, glancing at the empty kitchen. This was more than just a meeting. It was the chance to change everything. "Ready," she replied, a spark igniting inside her. She didn't know what tomorrow would bring, but she was ready to face it, come what may, and as she stared into the darkness of the evening, one burning question remained at the forefront of her mind: would John be ready to take that leap of faith with them? The day arrived, bright and hopeful, yet heavy with weight. Mia sat in the community center, her heart racing like a drum. Aisha and Carter stood beside her, their breaths synchronized in anticipation. The room was adorned with colorful posters, reflecting the dreams of a community that deserved to shine. Today was not just about presentation, it was about transformation. Mia glanced at the clock, knowing John would arrive any moment. They had poured their hearts into building a clear plan, something John could visualize, something he could believe in. Each line in their proposal represented not just statistics, but the faces and stories they had fought for. They understood the stakes. It was time for that faith to turn into something more. The door swung open, and John walked in, his expression unreadable but his posture less rigid than before. Mia swallowed hard, feeling a surge of nerves mixed with determination. Here he was, a man with power, a man who could change everything. "Morning, everyone," John greeted coolly but with a trace of something softer buried within. "Thank you for coming back, John," Mia said, her voice steady despite the thunder in her chest. "Today, we're excited to dive deeper into our vision for the center." John settled into his seat, arms crossed, but the once intimidating demeanor felt slightly more approachable. "Let us see what you've got," he said, and Mia felt a flicker of hope ignite. As they unfolded their proposal, they took turns speaking, each story weaving into the fabric of community unity. Aisha spoke passionately about how the center served as a second home for kids, a safe place where dreams were born, nourished, and lifted. Carter highlighted their plan for workshops that would teach practical skills, helping kids secure jobs and offer families financial stability. Mia could see John listening, his fingers tapping less rhythmically, his brow furrowing with concentration. Then it happened. Just as Mia shared Max's story again, recounting how the center had awakened hopes within the child, John leaned forward. "You're telling me that Max was at risk of failing, and now he has found a place where he belongs?" "Yes," Mia responded, feeling the energy intensify. "And he is not alone. Every child who steps through those doors feels valued. That's what our community center represents: possibility." John's expression shifted, and Mia felt her heart lift. He was beginning to see it. "Here's the thing," he said slowly. "It sounds promising, but I still can't overlook the numbers. I need to know this is a safe investment. Of course, Aisha chimed in, her confidence shining brighter than ever. We've projected how we'll grow the center sustainably. With your backing, we can implement fee-based workshops while ensuring every child has access to essential services. It's about building not just for today, but for the future. Carter added, and will generate quarterly analytics. You'll see where your money is going and the impact it creates in real time. No gray areas here. As John mulled over this information, Mia could feel the collective heartbeat in the room shifting. Finally, he spoke. So what you're suggesting is more than just funding, then? You want a partnership? Yes, Mia affirmed, a partnership. Because this, she gestured around the room, is bigger than any one of us. It's about changing lives together. And there it was, the moment they had fought for. John's expression softened further, a crack in the armor of skepticism. I'll need a few days to evaluate everything, he said thoughtfully. But I have to admit, I am intrigued. Mia felt a rush of emotion wash over her. Thank you for giving us a chance, John. That means everything to us. As he prepared to leave, Mia felt as though a barrier had shattered. There was still work to do, but today marked a turning point. She watched him exit the center, a hint of hope lingering in the air like the sweet scent of promise. In the days that followed, the community buzzed with excitement. The news of John's interest spread like wildfire. Families stopped by, their faces alight with hope. Children played in the park, laughter echoing in the hearts of those who had long been seeking clarity. Mia felt invincible, buoyed by the energy of her friends, the warmth of the families she served. Finally, days later, Mia received the call. The familiar voice of John broke through, strong and confident. Mia, I've thought long and hard about this. I'd like to officially invest in the community center. Emotions flooded Mia's heart, tears of relief filled her eyes. Thank you, John. We won't let you down. As she hung up the phone, she turned to Aisha and Carter. Their joyous screams filled the air as they embraced. They had done more than secure funding, they had woven together a tapestry of dreams. In that moment, Mia realized, they weren't just fighting for a building, they were igniting a movement. Together, they would shape a community of resilience, happiness, and opportunity. And as Mia gazed at the sunny skies outside, she knew deep within that this was only the beginning. Their story had the power to transform lives, and they were ready to embrace each moment of it. Everyone watching, remember the power of your own journey. It starts with belief and action, so don't wait, and subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Comment your reactions and feelings about this ending. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. This is the moment to show your support. You need to subscribe now. Don't wait not even one more second to share.